This is the ABQ Business Podcast with your host, Jason Rigby. Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit that's in every entrepreneur. Discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems, and the problems we can all solve together for a new future for local small business.
We're going to have an extremely practical podcast today. I got an email that's absolutely gold. Sometimes you get, you'll see something online or you'll get an email or you'll talk to somebody and you're like, I need to write all this down. I need to look at this. I need to see exactly how I can implement this. Not only in your life, but in your business or whatever it may be. You just see gold. You know what I mean? I always call them gold bars. Like, this is a gold bar. Well, I got one from growthtools.com. Because I have so many, I get so many emails because I subscribe to everything, and then I just kind of skim through it and see if I like it or not, and then from there, I'll delete. But then I'm getting hundreds of emails a day. But this one was good. This is something that each and every one of you in your business can do, especially now with what's going on. If you're having to pivot, then you need to adjust your process. If you're having to pivot because of COVID and everything that's going on, then you need to adjust your processes, your systems, your plan of how you're going to attack this and exactly what you're going to do. And that's why I like reverse engineering. It's so amazing to be able to take something and gain clarity, to see the fog and then pull your way through that and say, there's the lighthouse. That's where I got to go. I'm worried about the rocks. I'm worried about this, but I know I can see the lighthouse above. So once I got true north, once I know where I need to go, then it always brings about confidence. It always brings about mission and purpose. It allows you to be able to go to your employees and say, here's leadership. Here's where we're going. Here's the clarity. Here's the vision. Let's move forward. How can we do that? And then allow them as a team together to conquer that. So growthtools.com, I want to give credit where credit's due. He wrote in this email, he said, a few weeks back, a friend approached me with a marketing challenge. So then this just isn't for marketing. So don't tune me out, guys. I know we're 2 minutes and 45 seconds into this. Don't tune me out. This is going to help you, especially if whatever size business, or maybe you're thinking about starting a business. It doesn't matter. This is going to be gold bars for you. So this is what a friend approached him. And this guy's amazing with all this. He said he and his wife were starting a nonprofit. Their goal was to get to $8,350 a month in reoccurring donations as soon as possible. They needed a plan to help them hit that goal. So they wanted to get to $8,350 a month in recurring donations, and they're starting a nonprofit. And they wanted to do that as soon as possible. It's like, how the hell do you do all that? Well, here we go. So he creates marketing plans. He said, normally we don't do that. We don't, assist with nonprofits, but then he said, this is a friend. And I went back and forth with him. He said he wanted to do it in 60 days. So he brainstormed, worked on it, got it all together, and this is Brian at Growth Tools, and came up with steps, specific steps, and you're going to see this for the nonprofit, but you can take this and you can use this for anything that you're doing. So step number 1, he says this, get total, all caps, total clarity on the problem your company or product solves. And he says, I get it, this part doesn't sound sexy, you can't frame it as a growth hack. No, you've got to gain clarity on the problem your company or product solves. What's the problem? What is it? I got an email the other day from a great company that you guys know I'm a sneakerhead, so I love different sneakers and stuff like that. But there's always a problem with white tennis shoes and cleaning them. They had an email and then they sent a video of all these new products that they have and they show these real dirty white tennis shoes. And then they show the whole process and the different products that you can buy. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, 4 steps, and boom, they look brand new again. And you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Or I didn't know I could do that. Oh, that's cool. That's the problem. The problem is I have white tennis shoes that are extremely dirty, and I'm making it very simplistic here. but I think this will help you. And then they turned around and made content based off of that specific problem. He said, most marketing plans don't fail because they don't have the right growth hacks. They fail because the business never had clarity on the problem they solve and who they can best solve it for before they made the plan. You guys are making things that they're so generic. Well, let's get our social media person together and we need to brand ourselves more in our local town. That's nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. You need to get specific. You need to pull your marketing person aside, whoever you have, and say, here's the problem, here's how we solve it, and here's who we solve it for. Do you get that? I'm going to gain clarity specifically on the problem. What is the problem? Write down the problem. It's even better if you can get your leaders together and find the problem. How can we best solve it? And then let's make a plan from there. So here's 6 questions you must ask before making any plan. And he said you can apply these to your product or company, but this is really good, guys. 6 questions that will help you solve this. Number 1, what problem does your product solve? What problem does your product solve? Number 2, how are you solving the problem? I hope some of you guys is like your heads are just turning right now. Wheels are just going zzz, zzz, zzz. How are you solving the problem? I love that. Number 3, who is your best fit customer? Number 4, what guarantee are you making your customer? Now, I want to go into this. What guarantee are you making your customer in helping them solve the problem? You see what I'm saying? You have to make that guarantee. Your product needs to be good enough that it solves the problem, whatever that problem may be. And you need to make a guarantee on that problem to give that ability to engage. When you engage in a transaction, there's always trust there. And that trust needs to be displayed through a guarantee. What guarantee are you making your customer? Number 5, what is the goal of the organization? I've asked this so many times with company leaders. What is the goal of the organization? And I hear so many answers that, I love this. I love this. Number 5, what is the goal of the organization? Let me tell you, I've talked to so many business leaders and they're like, well, to, be profitable. Okay. That's not very visionary or challenging. That doesn't make me want to come to work. You're paying me $13 an hour and you want me to make you profitable. And I see you pulling up in this, Mercedes or whatever. That doesn't. Now, if you tell me the reason why and who we're helping and you give me a mission, then I can get behind that. What is the goal of the organization? What is the goal? We always think of expansion, growing bigger, creating more. Some of you, the goal is to downsize and then stay at a level where you can be comfortable and still have a life. Some of you want to pivot and you want to move from your main job and you want your side hustle to be that. That's why I love this. These people are starting a nonprofit and they want to get to $8,350 a month. Okay, let's move on. Number 5, what is the goal of the organization? Think about that. Meditate on that one. Number 6, what will the organization impact look like in 3 years? What will the organization and impact look like in 3 years? You need to take these 6 questions, ask your team those. So here's an examples of each of those questions that after he talked with his friend about the nonprofit. So the problem was this: refugees come to the U.S. in distress from war-torn and persecuted countries. They live in tent cities for years and have seen many of their loved ones die. They are looking down on as parasites by the U.S. government. The kids are traumatized, severely behind in education. That puts them at a large disadvantage in life. Job opportunities are low, stigma follows them, and they have a tough time assimilating to the U.S. culture and language. This creates a cycle that is hard to escape. I think we would all agree on that. Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, whatever it may be. I think we'd all agree with that. So that's the problem. We've identified specifically the problem for this nonprofit. So here's the solution. Work with refugee kids in Nashville one-to-one. Notice how local they went. Work with refugee kids in Nashville one-to-one to train, teach, and mentor them so they break the cycle. So we found the problem. Now we're making the solution to the problem, and that becomes the mission of the organization. Do you see that, guys? You get that specific. You have to narrow your focus down to get to the point to where you can say, specifically, here is what the solution is that my business can offer to this problem, and I am the best person to offer the solution to that problem because I'm the only one that can do it this way. Do you see that? That's what creates an amazing business. That's what causes you to be successful. That's what causes you to be profitable. That's what causes your employees to be engaged. That's what creates culture that allows you to have tenure, that allows you to have managers that have the ability to be able to be happy and lead because everyone is rowing in the right direction. Everyone is rowing for this solution. We have to make it is our responsibility as the employees to fix this. And this is a solution that was given by our leader. Let's row towards that. Let's work towards that. Here's our North Star. I see the lighthouse. Let's go. So he says this, work with refugee kids in Nashville one-to-one to train, teach, and mentor them so they break the cycle. Job training, spiritual development, leadership, U.S. culture. You see how specific he got? So he goes, okay, I need to teach and mentor. That's what I need to do. And I need to break the cycle. So how am I going to break the cycle? Here's specifically how I'm going to do it. They need a job. They need spiritual development. This must be like a nonprofit spiritual organization. They need leadership, and they need to understand the U.S. culture. So I'm going to do these via 3 programs. Look how much clarity is here, guys. Look how much clarity is in this. One-on-one mentoring and training, number 1. Number 2, after-school program for school-age kids. Number 3, a summer camp. And that's the solution. Super specific. Everyone knows when he went, if he would go before his volunteers and his employees for this non-for-profit and share the problem and share the solution, everyone would exactly know what needs to happen and how they're going to do it. Best fit child. They even, so, like a consumer or whatever, here's the best fit child. Refugee lives in Nashville under the age of 18, wants to learn and grow, doesn't know how. Here's about our programs and lights up. See how specific that is? Refugee lives in Nashville under the age of 18, wants to learn and grow, doesn't know how. Here's about our programs and lights up. Promise to children. Here's the promise that to solve the problem. You will gain the skills needed to succeed in life. We'll support, encourage, and empower you to the best version of yourself. That's the promise to the child. That's what they're saying. The best fit child, that one that wants to learn, that has a learning mindset, that is coming from a different country, that lives in Nashville, that is under the age of 18, that wants to learn and grow, but doesn't know how. Here's our promise to you. If you follow our 3 steps, our solution of job training, spiritual development, leadership, and U.S. culture, and you do one-on-one mentoring and training with us, after school, you come to the program, and then you do our summer camp, this is what's going to happen to you. You will gain the skills needed to succeed in life. We'll support, encourage, and empower you to be the best version of yourself. This is so good, guys. Best fit donor hears about this problem and is immediately drawn to it. So here's the person that is going to donate this $8,250 that they need to get monthly reoccurring in 60 days. Best fit donor hears about this problem and is immediately drawn to it. History of giving to causes they believe in. Wants to make a difference. Believes in both of you as people and founders. This is so important. You have to make sure that you articulate your vision so clearly that you offend people too. You have to make sure that you put your personality and the company's personality so much out there that it is offensive to some. You're like, what do you mean, Jason? Subaru does a great job of this. I think your average Trump supporter is not going to buy a Subaru. Subaru's commercials, if you look at them, and if you don't, you can go on YouTube and look at them. They're specific. They're targeting somebody that's 35 to 65, that's liberal, I mean, look at their commercials. You will see they're very specific and they're very successful. They have a branding that works, whether you agree or disagree. Okay, let's take Under Armour versus Nike. Under Armour's more conservative. They do camo. They have, they have hunting. The CEO was a Marine, and he's very specific. I am conservative. Here's where I'm at. You see what I'm saying? You have to be willing to be polarizing. Look at Nike and what they did with that NFL quarterback from San Francisco with taking a knee, and then how they're embracing the Black Lives Matters. All of that's polarizing, guys, but that's what creates a brand. That gives you the ability to say, this is who I am. This is the way we go. What happens if you had employees? What happens if Subaru has a bunch of ultra conservative, super far right employees working for them? It's not going to work. People are drawn to the brand. Liberals will be drawn to the brand and will want to work for Subaru because of that. And that creates alignment. Under Armour is the same way. You're going to have conservative people that may have been creative artists that work for Nike, and they're like, I don't align with who they are. And I'm going to go work for Under Armour to design shoes there. Do you see what I'm saying, guys? You have to take your brand and make it ultra clear in exactly who you are. So that's the best fit donor. Here's the promise to donors. You will be the difference in one kid's life. You enable one child to escape the sickle disadvantage that refugees face, and you will make a substantial difference in the world. You donate, you're going to help one child specifically. And I like how they make that extremely personal, and that cyclical disadvantage that the refugees face, that's something that they'll be able to share, and we'll get into that a little bit. What they do. So we help child refugees in Nashville survive and thrive in their new life by training and mentoring them. That's what they do. You like that? Very clear. We help child refugees in Nashville survive and thrive in their new life by training and mentoring them. Their goal with the organization, fundraising $8,350 per month and recurring donations. Donors have at least one touch point per month with one child. Do you see how they said touch point? So they're making it very specific. You donate and you're in Nashville. Guess what? Here is your child. Children, work with every child refugee in Nashville to have a better and more meaningful life, high test scores, job satisfaction, happiness, and community engagement. And you guys, like I said, you could probably get this on growthtools.com. I'm going to reach out to them, let them know about this podcast, and then see maybe I can get them on the podcast so we can go over this a little bit more. It'd be awesome. These details have an amazing clarifying effect as you start mapping out a marketing plan. So that was step one, guys. Here's step two. Hit your network. And this is going to take 1 to 2 months. The heart of the first 60 days is a manual one-to-one outreach campaign that targets highest potential donors first and then works down to lower donors. I believe this campaign alone can raise 50 to 100% of the monthly donations needed within 60 days. So he's like, you've got to hit your network. Everyone you know, you need to do an outreach campaign. Some of you need to do this with your customers. You need to do this personally as a business owner. You need to reach out to all your customers and have a conversation with them. I know it sucks, and I know it's a lot. Maybe you have 500, 1,000 customers. I don't know, but you need to have a phone call with them and see how they're doing through this process. Some of your highest paid customers that have just been loyal to you forever, you need to have a conversation with them. Those specifically, and you're going to see how it works here. I think this is really interesting. Hit your network. Make a list with 3 types of potential donors. The first step is for my friends to make a list of everyone they know and sort it into 3 groups. High rollers, people in their network who would be able to commit $300 a month. Mid rollers, people would be able to commit $100 a month. Everyone else, literally everyone else they know, kind of know, met one time, or are friends with on Facebook. This ain't the time to get shy. I like that. This ain't the time to get shy. So they're identifying high rollers as somebody that commit to $300 a month. Mid rollers, people who commit to $100 a month, and then everyone else. Friends on Facebook, everyone else. So now we have 3 tiers of who we're going to reach out to. High rollers. Here we go. Pitch high rollers. This group has the highest upside, so they'll do the most time-intensive types of pitching here. All of it should be done in person. Schedule lunches, dinners, coffee meetings, etc. Tell them about the project and ask if they know anyone who would be interested in supporting it. They should be able to get 6 to 12 committed at this donor level. Okay, now we've got 6 to 12 committed. Now we can start saying 300 times 12, that gets me this much a month. Now we're starting to see where the math's coming in. So pitch high rollers, pitch mid rollers, schedule in-person meetings with people in this group when possible, but at the very least, get them on the phone. They should be able to get 15 to 25 committed at this donor level. High rollers, we're trying to meet in person. Mid rollers, meet in person or on the phone. Next, pitch everyone else. Last but not least is everyone else in their network. The donation share is small, probably $15 to $50 a month, but it's the largest group. It's not worth meeting with everyone individually in person, but the outreach should be one-on-one and personal. Mass Facebook posts and email broadcasts don't count and won't be that effective. These are DMs, individual emails, text messages, phone calls, etc. Do you see that? Everyone thinks, oh, it's COVID. Let me send an email blast out. Not going to work. Text your customers. DM your customers. Make it specific, make it one-on-one. The best way to do this is to take somebody, your secretary, your receptionist, or somebody, have them go on your personal account in your office and sit there and go back and forth. When you get a personal response from someone, let her or him come to you and say, hey, I got a personal response from this person, and then you respond back personally. That's the easiest way to do that. Do you get that? Email broadcasts, people look at those, even if it has their first name in there, even if it seems like they don't get that. People, that's just, okay, yeah, I look at it. Oh, okay, cool. You have to take each customer individually and have a conversation with them, especially if you have customers that are spending, $5, $10, $15, $20 or more $1,000 a year in your company. You should be having multiple conversations with them through this whole COVID part. So what to do when people say no? Thank them for responding and ask them to join your email list for bi-weekly updates on what they're up to. So they say no, so guess what? We need to add them to our email list because emails still are hugely effective, guys. If you're not sending out an email at least once a month, you're being ineffective as a business. You need to be collecting email addresses. You need to be collecting cell numbers. That should be the main job of your receptionist or who are your website. Your website should have clear call to actions to get an email address or a cell number. You need that from every single customer. And you should be making, it's not that hard. You can hire somebody for a couple $100 to make you an email, and then you can send it out through MailChimp or SendGrid or Aweber. All these, there's so many of them that are out there. It's super easy to do. It can be done at least once a month, and you can update people on what's going on. I'll give you a quick way to do it. If you don't mind doing videos, make a quick video of what's going on, post it on YouTube, screenshot the YouTube with the little play button, that look, and then put that as a JPEG in the email blast. So, and then make the URL, the YouTube link, so they can go turn around and watch it on YouTube. That's a quick and easy email. Put a little paragraph on there. Here's what's going on with COVID with our business. Just wanted to send you a quick video, let you know. Bam, email blast, super fast, super easy to do. What to do when people say no? Thank them for responding. Ask them to join the email list for bi-weekly updates on what you're up to. Don't send them a link to an opt-in page. Just ask for their best email address. And then you can start sending the bi-weekly updates. When they send it to you, manually add it to your email service provider. This should bring your email list to 500 to 1,000 by the end of this campaign. This is important. Do this, of course, for people who say yes to. Needs to be for everyone. You guys should be collecting email addresses. Potential results. On the low end, they should be able to raise around half of their $8,350 a month goal from this manual campaign. On the high end, they raise all of it. As a stretch goal, $10,000 a month is possible. So that's step 2, hit your network. Step 3 is build relationships every 2 weeks. And this is for a not-for-profit. If you know somebody owns a not-for-profit, send this to them. I know they would love it. And they could use this to be able to push through, especially during this time. This step begins after the first 2 weeks or so of manual outreach. By then, they'll plan to have the first wave of donors and email subscribers. So they need a simple content plan to keep them engaged. Notice the word simple. You guys are trying to do something that Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary V is doing. You guys are trying to put out content 10, 15 times a day and do all this stuff, and then nothing gets done. A simple content plan. Here's what he suggests to them. I love this. 1 email every 2 weeks. Each email contains simple updates, stories, and tips on how to help. They can discuss kids they are working with and progress updates on the programs they're starting. Each email reinforces the difference you can make by donating. These emails will increase retention because current donors will have a tangible reminder of the difference they're making. Meanwhile, the potential donors on the list will keep getting reminders to start contributing. You see how effective this is? This is so simple. It's one thing. Send an email every 2 weeks, and here's what you're going to put in the email. You're going to put simple updates, stories, and tips. You're going to discuss kids that you're working with, the progress and the updates of the programs that they're working. Remember, we defined the programs before because once we found the problem, then we had the solution. We got clarity on the solution. So now we have the ability. This is going to push our content in everything that we do in our marketing. That is going to build our brand. We're going to be polarizing. Each email reinforces the difference you can make by donating. So here's the difference. Here's what you can do. You got $10 a month, perfect. You live in Nashville, we'd love to be able to help you. Step 4, start speaking publicly and or virtually 2 times per week. Long-term speaking will be the engine that drives donations, whether it's virtual or in person. Both founders need to be in front of a crowd 1 time per week telling their stories. This is where it's really extremely important to make sure this is videotaped, even if it's done with the phone and a tripod, and making sure that you get the audio from this. So if you're going to go speak somewhere and they don't, you need to bring a little lapel mic, put it in your pocket with your phone. You can download all kinds of apps that'll at least get the audio, and then you can turn around and make that audio a podcast. Very simple to do. Or you can throw it on YouTube if it's a video. You need clean audio. You can buy a little lapel mic that hooks to your cell phone and then put your cell phone in your pocket. Very simple to do if they don't have. But you need to be able to give speeches. You need to have those. As many speeches as they can, because long-term speaking engagement is going to be the engine that drives donations. Then he talks about this. This is, I love this. Create a Dream 100. This is a list of the 100 organizations, influencers, events, podcasts, or shows that have audience full of their best fit donors. They'll start by listing out any that existing donors are affiliated with. Churches, companies, clubs. The remaining targets can be found by researching where other local nonprofits have been featured. Complete Dream 100. You need to know, this is what I want to do. Okay, I'm in Nashville. Here's the 100 places that I want to speak at. Now you have to pitch to the Dream 100. Starting with the targets they already have as a direct connection to, they'll pitch them on a one-to-one basis. Depending on the target, they may be pitching a speaking engagement, interview, Zoom meeting, webinar, Facebook Live session, etc. This will be tailored based on how the target typically features organizations to their audience. Start speaking once per week. Each engagement, regardless of the format, should end with a specific CTA. For example, they could start by experimenting with a CTA to sponsor one child for $100 a month. Something simple that allows each donor to see their impact. As a secondary CTA, they should create a lead magnet to get attendees to join their email list. See how simple this is? One child, $100 a month. If you can't do that, all I'm asking is that you please join our email list. Super simple. Step 5. I love this one. Pour gas on the fire. Q4 2020 and Q1 2021. So here's what we're going to do last quarter of 2020 and quarter of 2021. Over the next 1 to 2 years, constant speaking engagements with the single biggest source of new donations. But there are also several things they can't implement in the background that will celebrate once they have a firm foundation in place. New subscriber offers. This is a basic email sequence that lets all new subscribers that learn about their Sponsor One Child program. It will ask them to donate within 2 days of signing up. While this campaign will allow them to pick up some evergreen donors, its biggest value is that it will frame up every new subscriber to be ready to donate when they run a bigger campaign. New subscriber offer. See, so this is what they're going to push. They're going to throw gas on the fire by getting a little bit more detailed, a little bit more complicated. And so we're starting off with this. And then when we get to Q4, here's what we're going to do. Next is monthly webinar. Every month, they'll feature one child family to their email list on a webinar. It will show their journey and how the organization is helping. At the end, they'll let people know there are more kids who need sponsors. The goal is to get 5 to 10 new donors per month from this. See how they're getting ROI? In everything that they do, they're getting an ROI. It's so important, guys. Some of you guys, if you say, well, we just need to brand ourselves, or, I'm going to put myself on 3 billboards, or, I'm going to run Facebook ads or Google ads. What's the ROI on that? What's your return on investment, guys? You need to know that in every freaking dollar you spend. What is your return on investment? If it doesn't create a return on investment, It's done. It's over. I move on to the next thing. This next thing is, so new subscriber offers, monthly webinar, one big promo drive per year. They'll run a big live promo drive to their email list one time per year. The list will be the engine, but the goal is to broadcast everywhere. Utilize any available channels so that everyone in earshot, every place they've ever spoken at, anyone who's ever donated will hear about it. Repeat every year for 100 to 200 new donors. Notice how their email list is the engine, he says. He says, that's the marketing plan we came up with. And this right here is gold, guys. If you will re-listen this and take notes, have your team listen to this. And I'm telling you, if you're a not-for-profit, this right here is your game plan. You could literally say, okay, the rest of 2020, 2021, here's what we're doing. It's super cool. Like I said, I want to give credit due. This was Brian at growthtools.com. So it was Brian at growthtools.com, and this was the newsletter that he sends out. I'm going to email Brian, send him this link, and see if we can get him on the show to talk about this more, because I think it's awesome. But guys, I'm going to ask you, go and subscribe to my email list. It's abqpodcast.com. That's abqpodcast.com. You'll immediately get a pop-up on there, and on that pop-up, you will get, you can put your email address in there. Would love to be able to have you be a part of the ABQ podcast community for businesses all across the United States. Not only are we here in Albuquerque, but we're here for everyone. I know I'm getting a ton of downloads all over, Texas and California and Arizona, and I appreciate that. Washington State, New York. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everyone that's listening. If you have any questions, you have any concerns, anything, you do not hesitate to DM me. Best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram, ABQ Jason Rigby. I'm on there. Follow me. Be more than happy to, we can have 5-10 minute conversation, go over what your business is looking at, kind of gain some clarity. I can ask you some questions. If you want, I've done this several times and I love doing this. I would be more than happy to have you on the podcast and we can do a session together about gaining clarity for your business. Would love to be able to do that. Thank you, guys. Have an amazing, today's Sunday. For me, have an amazing Sunday.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.